As extra cover for their true intent, the Halifaxes will go on to bomb enemy targets, along with other Royal Air Force bombers flying across the Channel at the same time. The divorce from the tug is signified by what one airborne soldier on the mission describes as the familiar twang and jerk as the tow rope releases and falls away. With the rotary racket of the tug fading, Major Howard shouts out to his men, "Be quiet now!" The soldiers fall silent, the lead hawser diving steeply to get below the clouds, so the two pilots can navigate by studying the landscape laid out at their feet. The glider creaks and groans, the scream of air replaced by a calmer sighing as the hawser levels off at 1,000 feet. Lieutenant Brotheridge undoes his safety belt and stands up. As he opens the door just behind the cockpit, Major Howard and Tappenden hang on to him to make sure he doesn't accidentally exit the aircraft. A soldier at the back of the glider opens its other door. Settling back down, Lieutenant Brotheridge, Major Howard, and other soldiers near the doors watch as the Norman landscape flashes by below, inhaling the sweet, damp air. Howard finds it has an amazing tranquilizing effect. They spot horses and cattle grazing very, very quietly in fields laid out in a similar patchwork to those back home. The animals are unperturbed by the glider's passage close overhead. 6 platoons of the oxen bucks, one to each of the horses, are tasked with taking 2 bridges a quarter of a mile apart in an audacious coup de main attack. They are accompanied in each hawser by half a dozen Royal Engineer sappers, whose job it will be to defuse and remove any demolition charges attached to the bridges. One of them spans the River Orne, near the village of Ranville, and the other the Caen Canal, close to the village of Benouville. 3 gliders and 90 troops are assigned to assault and capture each bridge. It is archetypal use of airborne forces, taking a gamble by coming down right on top of an objective to achieve total surprise. While it might cost a few casualties, it should, with luck, swiftly deliver success. As one official history will later term it, the aim of the oxen bucks is to arrive at the bridges alone and unheralded, like thieves in the night. The chosen troops and their glider pilots have, for months, trained intensively. The glider pilots scrutinized aerial reconnaissance photos of the actual bridges in Normandy and their surroundings, though they were not told where it was they were studying until just hours before takeoff on the night of the attack itself. The glider pilots also repeatedly watched an astonishingly realistic film that presented a low-level fly-through, using a model of the target. It had every detail realized in miniature, from German pillboxes to each bush and tree. The glider pilots memorized the landing spots and timings of their approach, the exact moment to follow a certain bearing for a certain duration after release from the tug, including when to take precise turns. They also rehearsed it for real, getting everything down to the split second during simulated landings in the English countryside. These included a rehearsal of the raid itself, against bridges at Lechlade, a quiet and ancient little town on the southern edge of the Cotswolds. The oxen bucks trained for their part in the mission at the Countess Weir bridges near Exeter, where, like the target in Normandy, there was a canal and river right next to each other. The troops used trucks in place of gliders, tumbling out of the back of them as if disembarking from horses. Had the troops and gliders trained with each other, it would have risked death or injury, while making public the exact nature of the mission. Training mishaps were still to be expected, and thankfully there were not too many. One night in May 1944, during a night landing at Tarrant Rushden, a glider was released too far from the airfield, touched down safely, but went through a hedge and slammed into a country lane with its nose wheel pushed up through the cockpit. Neither pilot was injured. During a landing rehearsal on Salisbury Plain, there was a collision between gliders, with one spearing the other, while 3 others were involved in a landing pile-up.